I wonder, Rob, if we might get a call or two from Denver where some of the Nuggets fans may want to trash the Nuggets. Because for the second straight year or offseason, they have lost some key players. Last year, after winning the championship, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green. Hurts their depth. And they missed those guys this year. No question about it. This year, now Reggie Jackson traded, so they did get something back for him. A young player. We'll see if he can help him out. But also, in addition to losing Reggie Jackson, who was a key member of their rotation, they lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who was a starter for them, Rob, helped them win the championship and helped the Lakers win the championship a few years ago. I know he only averaged 10 points a game, but he's a solid defender. He's a, timely three-point shooter. He's a good three-point shooter, period. But he has hit some timely threes for them. And so Rob, here's how I look at the Nuggets. You've got a generational player. And obviously that's Nikola Jokic. When you have that, Rob, I think you go for it. And yes, you got to spend a lot of money. And today's, rules with the new second apron and the first apron and the taxes you have to pay if you spend too much, they are what they are. Y'all put them in. The owners put those rules in, not the players. The players ultimately agreed to it. But, Rob, you know how these collective bargaining agreements go. The players generally lose. This was something the owners wanted to protect them from themselves as far as spending more money than they wanted to. And so now when you have a top team, you oftentimes have to lose some critical members. They may never get a player like Nikola Jokic. They've never had one before. As great as Carmelo Anthony was and Kiki Vandeweghe and Alex English, they've never had a Jokic. And Rob, I don't think, and I don't know what their thinking is, but it feels like when you look at it from the outside, because they haven't replaced these guys, it feels like they're like, hey, we've had a really good franchise, and they have. Never won anything before 2 years ago, but had a very good franchise, generally successful in terms of being competitive. Fan base is great. And now, Rob, it's like they got their ring, and in some ways it seems to me like they're satisfied. I know Michael Malone isn't. I know Jokic and the players aren't, but they can't keep losing guys. Golden State went for it when they had Steph, or they've had Steph, and they've been trying to win it. And Boston's going for it. They've got a window now. They already got one. I think the Nuggets should be going for it. I'd be disappointed if I was a Nuggets fan.
You don't want to lose people, but I understand where the Nuggets are. Well, you talked about it yesterday, Chris. These teams don't make money. They
make some annually. There's a few, like last year, I think about 3 lost money. So most of them made some, but it's not like you're
swimming in money, or you know what I mean? It's a cash cow.
Looks like I say on average they might make, I'm guessing, just looking at the numbers earlier, about $70 million a year on average. The high end, maybe 120, 130. But low end, some teams are losing money.
If you're Denver, you can't keep everybody. You have to decide who you want to pay, right? And who you're going to keep, Chris. You can't do it. This is not like endless shrimp, and you could just decide that I'm going to keep eating shrimp and I don't care what the cost is. There's a cost at some point that comes with it. Now, the shame of it, Chris, would be that the Joker didn't win and you were shedding people. Do you know what I mean? Like right. Once you win, and I'm not saying that, okay, that's it, and let's roll up the tents and it's all over, but it's way easier. No one's expecting, even as a fan of a team, most people want their team to win. Can you win once in my lifetime? Can I be happy? Can I go to a parade? Chris, I'm not saying you don't want a second one, but so many people don't even win one. Ask Knicks fans who grew up for the last 40 years, right?
50.
50 years. Could they ask him, would you take one? Yes.
No, I hear you, but once you win that one, if your guy is in his prime, you know what I mean? Like, you want to keep winning.
You do want to keep winning, but not at all costs, not for some franchises. I don't know the Denver Nuggets numbers, Chris, but it ain't a big city. And their owner is probably saying, dude, we can't go like the Warriors. The Warriors on their apron, I'm just saying, Chris, they got an enormous amount of money that they have to pay, right? The Warriors.
Yeah, they were paying like $350 million this year. And they're the highest valued team in the league.
Right. But Denver can't get in. They're not in that ballpark.
I'm going to tell you, last year, Rob, this season, Denver made, this is according to Forbes, $71 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a huge amount for
not for the amount of money, right? Chris, the operating.
But they were above. Yeah, they made money, but yeah, a lot of that probably is going in taxes.
Right.
Golden State made $79 million, but you got some taxes to pay. So yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying,
when you're in that apron, you do have to pay. I hear you. I hear business.
I hear your point. As a fan, and if there's unlimited budget, you want to, just throw money at it and let's just try to win and let's use this window. But I'm just saying, it is a lot easier to pull back after you win, whether it's right or not. It's because a lot of teams don't win.
Let me ask you this, because, and there was obviously free agent movement in the 90s. Not nearly as much in the 80s, but in the 90s, right? But the Jordan Bulls, Horace Grant was there. They have some players that they interchanged. But do you prefer back years ago where teams generally stayed together, or do you prefer the movement? Because now, and this goes for the NFL as well, but nowadays, you win a championship. Like, you remember with the Steelers in the 70s and the Cowboys, you kept everybody. And obviously, free agency is what the players should have. It's helped the players tremendously. But as a fan, do you prefer this where guys are moving around a lot every year? Because it does, in one sense, Robs, it makes it more exciting. And teams that haven't been good have a chance to get good. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I definitely don't think free agency is a bad thing.
No, but free agency is a great thing.
It's a great thing, right? But do you prefer, as a fan, players being on the move and even your team having the ability to go get a guy, or that the teams kind of stayed together so when you had a champion, maybe they could go on a nice little
I'm going to say no, Chris, because when we talk about it all the time, and especially during that era of the 50s, remember we talk about it, with the Celtics winning every year and the Yankees going to the World Series.
You had no choice.
Like in those years, Chris, I don't know if fans are like, oh, this is great. The Yankees went to the World Series 8 out of 10 years in the 50s, and the Packers won all the time, and the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup every year, and the Celtics won all the time. For those cities, yeah. But I think for the rest of the league and the rest of the fans around the country, it's like, God, Can we have a shot? You know what I mean? Like, not to win all the time. And that's why I'm saying, like, if you're Denver, and I'm not saying that after you won, you want to throw in a towel and you don't care whether you win or lose again. Of course they wanted to see their team repeat, and they were hurt that they got knocked out. But it's a lot easier to understand once you won. If they pull back without giving the Joker, Chris, some talent around him, or like they were at the cusp and then they pulled out, without him winning, then as a fan, I would be mad.
Here's my pushback, though. What if the fans said, we got our one, and stopped going to games? You know what I mean? They want the fans to keep spending money. So I think if you own an NBA team, your goal should be to win as much as you can. Now, I get the Warriors not signing Clay this year, and some other teams, like we talked about, who we were talking about yesterday? I can't remember the team, but or the Clippers with Paul George. We're not winning it with Paul George. We're not winning it with Klay Thompson in Golden State. So, yeah, I'm going to bring our spending down and not pay all these taxes for a team that might not even make the playoffs.
Right.
But when you have that shot, I mean, this is what separates pro sports from some other businesses. It's about winning.
No,
you know what I mean?
We talk
it's
about it all. What we always say, sports has a short menu.
Yeah,
really,
there you go.
It really is wins and losses. Let me just give you this little context, Chris, about the Denver Nuggets. For the last 5 years, most Nuggets fans in Denver had their non-national TV games, Chris, blacked out due to TV restrictions. So they had a big problem with the Altitude Network. So they've had like some issues, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Where maybe financially they don't have the loot that they can really honestly do it without saying this is going to hurt us down the road financially.